School in England. One cold winter day, a little girl and her father arrived in London. Sara Crewe was 7 years old, and she had long black hair and green eyes. She sat in the cab next to her father and looked out of the window at the tall houses and the dark sky. "What are you thinking about, Sara?" Mr. Crewe asked. "You are very quiet." He put his arm round his daughter. "What are you thinking about, Sara?" Mr. Crewe asked. "I'm thinking about our house in India," said Sara. "And the hot sun and the blue sky. I don't think I like England very much, father." "Yes, it's very different from India," her father said. "But you must go to school in London, and I must go back to India and work." "Yes, father. I know," said Sara. "But I want to be with you. Please come to school with me. I can help you with your lessons." Mr. Crewe smiled, but he was not happy. He loved his little Sara very much. And he did not want to be without her. Sara's mother was dead, and Sara was his only child. Father and daughter were very good friends. Soon they arrived at Miss Minchin's school for girls and went into the big house. Miss Minchin was a tall woman in a black dress. She looked at Sara, and then gave a very big smile. "What a beautiful child," she said to Mr. Crewe. Sara stood quietly and watched Miss Minchin. "Why does she say that?" she thought. "I am not beautiful. So why does she say it?" Sara was not beautiful, but her father was rich. And Miss Minchin liked girls with rich fathers, because it was good for the school, and good for Miss Minchin, too. "Sara is a good girl," Mr. Crewe said to Miss Minchin. "Her mother was French, so she speaks French well, she loves books, and she reads all the time. But she must play with the other girls and make new friends, too." Miss Minchin was a tall woman in a black dress. "Of course," said Miss Minchin. She smiled again. "Sara is going to be very happy here, Mr. Crewe." Mr. Crewe stayed in London for a week. He and Sara went to the shops, and he bought many beautiful, expensive dresses for his daughter. He bought books, and flowers for her room, and a big doll with beautiful dresses, too. Miss Minchin smiled, but she said to her sister Amelia, "All that money on dresses for a child of 7. She looks like a little princess, not a schoolgirl." Mr. Crewe bought many expensive dresses for his daughter. When Mr. Crewe left London, he was very sad. Sara was very sad too, but she did not cry. She sat in her room and thought about her father on the ship back to India. "Father wants me to be happy," she said to her new doll. "I love him very much and I want to be a good daughter. So I must be happy." It was a very big and very beautiful doll, but of course it could not answer. Sara soon made new friends in the school. Some little rich girls are not very nice children. They think they are important because they have money and lots of expensive things. But Sara was different. She liked beautiful dresses and dolls. But she was more interested in people, and books, and telling stories. Now Sara was important, and Lavinia did not like that. And so 3 years went by. Sara's father wrote Tilda to her often. And Sara wrote loving little letters back to him. One day a very exciting letter arrived. Everybody in the school talked about it for days. "My friend," wrote Mr. Crewe, "has some mines in northern India, and a month ago his workers found diamonds there. There are thousands of diamonds in these mines, But it is expensive work to get them out. My friend needs my help. So, little Mrs., this was Mr. Crewe's special name for Sara, I am putting all my money into my friend's diamond mines. And one day you and I are going to be very rich. There are thousands of diamonds in these mines. Sara was not interested in money, but a story about diamond mines in India was exciting. Nearly everybody was very pleased for Sara, but not Lavinia, of course. She said, my mother has a diamond. Lots of people have diamonds. What's so interesting about diamond mines? But there are thousands of diamonds in these mines, said Ermengarde. Perhaps millions of them. Lavinia laughed. Is Sara going to wear diamonds in her hair at breakfast, then? Or is it, Princess Sara, now? Sara's face went red. She looked at Lavinia angrily, but said quietly, some people call me, Princess. I know that. But princesses don't get angry or say unkind things, so I'm not going to say anything to you, Lavinia. To me, you are a princess, Ermengarde said to Sara later. And you always look like a princess, in your beautiful dresses. Sara was a princess to another girl, too. This was Becky. She was a servant in Miss Minchin's school. And she was only 14 years old, but she worked all day and sometimes half the night. She carried things upstairs and downstairs, she cleaned the floors, she made the fires. And she was always tired and hungry and dirty. She and Sara had very different lives. Becky cleaned the floors, made the fires. But one day Sara came into her bedroom, and there was Becky, sleeping in a chair. Oh, you poor thing, Sara said. Then Becky opened her eyes and saw Sara. She got up at once. Oh, miss, she said. I'm very sorry, miss. I just sat down for a minute and, don't be afraid, said Sara. She gave Becky a friendly smile. You were tired. That's all. There was Becky, sleeping in a chair. Are you going to tell Miss Minchin? Asked Becky. She began to move to the door. Of course not, said Sara. Please don't run away. Sit down again for a minute. You look so tired. Oh, miss, one can't. Becky said. You're very kind, miss, but Miss Minchin, please, said Sara. She took Becky's hand. You're only a little girl. Like me. Let's be friends. And so, Becky sat down again, and soon she and Sara were friends. Nobody knew about this, of course. Rich little girls at Miss Minchin's school did not make friends with servant girls, and it was a wonderful thing for Becky. Nearly every day she and Sara met in Sara's bedroom. Just for 5 or 10 minutes. Becky was always hungry, and Sara often bought nice things for her to eat. They sat and talked, and sometimes Sara told Becky some of her stories. Becky loved that. Oh, miss, she said, you tell them so beautifully. Sometimes I like your stories better than things to eat. And after those visits to Sara's room, Becky always felt better, not so tired. And not so hungry. Some months later Sara had her 11th birthday. Lessons stopped for the afternoon and there was a big party for all the girls in the school. Everybody at Sara's party was very happy. This party is expensive for us, Miss Minchin said to her sister Amelia. But it looks good for the school. That afternoon there was a visitor to the school, Miss Minchin's lawyer. He went with Miss Minchin into her office, and they closed the door. In the schoolroom next door there was a lot of noise from Sara's party. Everybody in there was very happy. But in the office Miss Minchin was not happy. She looked at the lawyer angrily. What are you saying? Mr. Crewe has no money? What about the diamond mines? There are no diamond mines, said the lawyer. Well, there are mines, but there are no diamonds in them. But Mr. Crewe's good friend, began Miss Minchin. Mr. Crewe's good friend, said the lawyer, ran away with all Mr. Crewe's money. Ralph Crewe was ill with a fever, and when he heard about this, he got worse. A week later he was dead. Dead, cried Miss Minchin. But what about his daughter Sara? And this expensive birthday party? Sara Crewe has no money, said the lawyer. Not a penny in the world. Miss Minchin, not a penny. She must leave my school at once, Miss Minchin said angrily. She must go this afternoon. Where? Said the lawyer. Out into the streets. An 11-year-old girl? That's not going to look very good for your school, Miss Minchin. Miss Minchin's face went red. You can't put her out in the streets, said the lawyer. He stood up. But perhaps she can work for you. The lawyer left, and Miss Minchin called her sister Amelia. Bring Sara Crewe here at once, she said. 2 minutes later Sara, in her beautiful blue party dress, stood in front of Miss Minchin. Have you a black dress, Sara? Miss Minchin said coldly. Yes, Miss Minchin, said Sara. But it's very small. She must leave my school at once, Miss Minchin said. Go and put it on at once, said Miss Minchin. Your father is dead. There were no diamond mines, and your father's friend ran away with all his money. You have nothing, not a penny. But I am going to be very kind to you. You can stay in my house, but now you must be a servant and work for your bread. You can sleep in a servant's room upstairs, next to Becky's room.
The new servant girl that evening, in the little attic room, Sara sat on the bed in her old black dress. She did not cry, but her face was white and she did not move or speak for hours. Late at night the door opened quietly, and Becky looked in. Her eyes were red from crying. Oh, miss, she said. All the servants are talking about it. I'm so sorry, so sorry. She looked at Sara's white face, and began to cry again. Then she ran to Sara, and took her hand. At last Sara moved. Slowly, she turned her head and looked at Becky. Oh, Becky, she said. And that was all. Becky ran to Sara, and took her hand. That first night in the attic was very long. Sara did not sleep. Father is dead, she whispered, again and again. Father is dead. I'm never going to see him again. The next morning Sara's new life began. She learned to clean floors and to make fires. She ran upstairs and downstairs. And she worked in the kitchen. Run down to the shops and get me some apples. The cook was a big woman with a red, angry face. So, she said, the little rich girl with the diamond mines is now a servant, eh? She looked at Sara. Now, I'm making apple pies this morning. Run down to the shops and get me some apples. And be quick. So Sara ran to the shops and carried a big bag of apples back to the house. Then she cleaned the kitchen floor and carried hot water up to all the bedrooms. She worked every day, from early in the morning to late at night. She helped in the school, too. You speak French well, Miss Minchin said to her coldly. So, you can teach French to the younger children. But you're only a servant. Don't forget that. The first months of Sara's new life were very hard. She was always tired and hungry, but she never cried. At night, in her little attic, she thought about her father, dead in India all those miles away. I must be brave, she said. Father always wanted me to be brave. And I have a bed to sleep in, and something to eat every day. Lots of people don't have that. At first Sarah's only friend was Becky. Every day Becky came into Sarah's room. They did not talk much, but it helped Sarah a lot to see Becky's friendly, smiling face. The girls in the school were sorry for Sarah, but Sarah was a servant now, and they could not be friendly with a servant. Lavinia, of course, was pleased. One never liked Sara Crewe, she told her friends. And one was right about the diamonds. There weren't any. Ermengarde was very unhappy when she saw Sarah in the school. Sarah walked past her and did not speak. Poor Ermengarde loved Sarah and wanted to be friendly, but she was not clever, and she did not understand. "What are you doing here?" said Sarah one morning. Very early, she got quietly out of bed, went upstairs to the attics, and opened Sarah's door. "Ermengarde," Sarah said. "What are you doing here?" Ermengarde began to cry. "Oh, Sarah, please tell me. What is the matter? Why don't you like me now?" "I do like you," Sarah said. "Of course, I do. But, you see, everything is different now. Miss Minchin does not want to talk to the girls. Most of them don't want to talk to me. And I thought, perhaps, you didn't want to, but I'm your friend," cried Ermengarde. "I'm always going to be your friend, and nobody can stop me." Sarah took Ermengarde's hands. She suddenly felt very happy. Perhaps she cried a little, too. Who can say? There was only one chair. So the two friends sat on the bed. Ermengarde looked round the attic. "Oh, Sarah, how can you live in this room? It's so cold and dirty." "Watch," Sarah said. "It's not so bad," said Sarah. "And I've got lots of friends. There's Becky in the next room, and, come and see." She moved the table under the window, and then she and Ermengarde stood on it and looked out of the window over the roofs of the houses. In her pocket Sarah had some small pieces of bread. She put her hand out of the window, with the bread on it. "Watch," she said. After a minute a little brown bird flew down to Sarah's hand and began to eat the bread. Then a second bird came, and a third, and a fourth. "Oh Sarah, how wonderful," said Ermengarde. "They know I'm their friend," said Sarah, "so they're not afraid. Sometimes they come into the room, too." Ermengarde looked across the roof to the next attic window. "Who lives in that house?" she asked. "Nobody," said Sarah sadly. "So I never see anybody at that window, and I can only talk to the birds." But one night, 2 or 3 weeks later, Becky came into Sarah's room. She was very excited. "Ooh, miss," she said. "An Indian gentleman is moving into the house next door. Well, he's English, but he lived in India for years and years. And now he's going to live next door. He's very rich, and he's ill. Something bad happened to him, but I don't know what." Sarah laughed. "How do you know all this?" she said. "Well, miss, you know the Carmichael family across the street?" Becky said. "I'm friendly with their kitchen girl, and she told me. Mr. Carmichael is the Indian gentleman's lawyer, so they know all about him."